This
on real quick.
conference will now be recorded.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, thanks. This is Ron, and it's May the 11th, 2021. And this is a monthly meeting of the Dayton Utility Service Board. This meeting is being held by phone because of the COVID-19 pandemic and in compliance with the governor's executive orders. This meeting is open for the public to listen in real time and by a recording afterward, and an option has been provided for the residents to speak during the meeting on agenda items. Present on the phone are the Clerk Treasurer, Michelle Freeward, our Town Attorney, Reed Murtaugh, Town Manager, Mark Harlow, Town Marshal, Scott Taylor, and the 5 members of the Town Council who will identify themselves now by roll call. Jen?
Here.
Carla?
Present.
Stan?
Here.
Ashley?
Here.
And I'm Ron, so all 5 members are present. Okay, before we start this meeting, I want to say a couple of things. Happy anniversary to my wife of 47 years today, Cindy. It's been a long time and a great time, so happy anniversary. Also, I want to say thanks to Mark Harlow for all his hard work getting things in order for the community crossings grants. Thanks to Mark and his attention to detail, we will be able to do about $295,000 worth of road repairs this year, and the town will only pay 25% of that. So thank you again, Mark. Okay, first on the agenda is Reed, the town attorney. Reed, you want to talk about the utility account repayment plans, or take it from here?
Yes, thank you, Ron. We have prepared a resolution to allow repayment plans. So there's just some items that the town utility board needs to discuss as far as the terms of the repayment plan. Well, first, the template that we got through AIM says for 6 consecutive months, pay in full the sum of the amounts billed for the services rendered for each of the next 6 billing periods, plus an amount equal to 1/6 of the past due amount shown on the current invoice. And at the conclusion of the 6-month payment plan, the utility customer's account must be current. And then in the event that a customer fails to pay as agreed in the repayment plan, the customer shall be eligible for termination of service. And the town can follow the normal disconnection policy, including the assessment of the disconnection fee. So there's really 2 parts that you need to discuss. One is the time period that you're going to allow people to become current, and then also the right to disconnect. So I guess what the proposed is adding is, once people agree to the repayment plan, if any payment is missed, then the town gets the right to disconnect. I'll open that up for your discussion.
Okay, anybody have any comments?
I think that we need repayment plans set up. I think it's important, and I feel like 6 months is fair.
I do too. Is it something we can think about till next meeting, or would you guys like to vote on something tonight? Or I'm not sure what the board.
We're not ready to vote tonight.
Okay.
Because I haven't circulated the resolution. So what we're hoping is that you guys could decide what terms you want tonight, and then I can circulate the resolution, and then we could vote to approve the resolution at the next meeting.
Okay. Anybody? You suggested 6 months. Anybody else?
because they have to keep up with their regular bill, and then it's just whatever their bill is now that's overdue, we just divide it by 6 and add that amount to their bill each month. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, just making sure I understood.
So for some people, 6 months, I mean, that can make their monthly bill pretty steep. Is there, you know, if they're very far behind, is that, I don't know, 6 months? I mean, if they were just a couple, 3 months behind, I could see that 6 months they could maybe get that worked out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if that's too short a time frame for some people.
It would make some pretty steep payments for some people. You know, maybe we ought to make it more longer.
The other thing to point out is, I believe the current town code, you know, just says if anyone is delinquent, then they shall be disconnected. Not that that's necessarily been happening, but I think that's, you know, what the
Is this in addition
current law
to?
states.
Is this in addition?
So this would be.
So this would replace that, is what you're saying?
This would replace that. Yeah. So this is, you know, a way to allow people to avoid disconnection for a period of time. And you guys just need to decide on how much time to give people to try to get current.
I guess in my mind,
I thought it can be longer than 6 months.
Carla, how many months are you thinking? 9 or 12 or?
Can I interject?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Ashley. So I'm thinking 6 months would be adequate for the vast majority of the customers. We could have a dollar amount. For instance, if you are over X number of dollars, you know, maybe take the repayment plan out to 9 months or something like that. But if you're under a certain dollar amount, then, you know, the 6 month payment plan is all we offer. So in essence, have two.
That's okay if you can split them up and have two different things for. I don't know if you can do that, Reed. Can you?
You know, based on the dollar amount that's outstanding.
Yeah, if somebody owes a lot, then they get more months. If they owe less, they get less months.
Is the late fees still going to accumulate?
Well, say that again, Stan.
The late fees still going to accumulate on their delinquent bill? Or are we going to stop the late fees if they agree with the plan?
Late fees have not been started back since they were stopped during COVID. So those have not been implemented yet. You guys have not voted to start those.
Yeah, there's no late fees and there's no shut off right now. So this would all be new.
So you guys can decide that.
Yeah, but Reed, you need to, can you, Ashley's thought there before, is that okay? Is that legal to do where you split it up? If somebody owes more, they get more months. If they owe less, they get less months. I wouldn't think you could do that, but maybe you can.
Well,
I think
are you wanting, is that what you were saying, Ashley? Because I think so in the event that a utility customer fails to pay as agreed in the repayment plan at the end of the 6 months, it says that they shall be eligible for termination of service, including the assessment of the disconnection fee. But we could say that they are, if they have made some type of progress towards paying their bill, they can be eligible for 3 additional months at the discretion of the utility clerk or the utility board if you want.
Reed, I don't have any problem with what you said. My thought was, have a select a dollar amount, and so just to use arbitrary number, if you're under say $1,000, we would do a 6-month repayment plan with you. If you're over $1,000, then we would do a 9-month payment plan with you. Is kind of what I understand.
Yeah, I think you can do that if you want. You just have to pick the amounts.
Correct. And I don't know if that would
we have
satisfy.
An idea of what the amounts would likely be, or do you guys need to look into that?
We probably, there's people that owe from $100 to $2,000, so I think we need to think about it and look into it a little bit. There's probably a lot of different ways to go about this.
I would like to see us, if we're thinking about it, I would like for us to have another meeting in, a few days, maybe a week's time. I don't think we're doing anybody any favors by dragging this out another month.
No, I agree. We ought to get it over with, and so we can everybody can start knowing how they're going to pay and how they're going to get caught up. So would everybody like that? Maybe in 1 week we can think of different options and have a meeting just on it, a quick meeting. And
yeah, I think that would be good. Maybe we could do a little research what other communities have done.
Yes. So why don't we?
Yeah, I think what other communities have done is just a certain amount. You give people 6 months, or you give them 7 months, or 8 months, or 9 months. But you can certainly talk and see if anyone has something that's similar to what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, on the listserv, most of them are just picking a month from 6 to a year, and then they're putting the fees on there too. Some aren't, but yeah. So we can. But how about next week on a Monday or a Tuesday, a week from now?
Well, the other, something else, that may be a possibility is, just go ahead and do the 6 months regardless of the dollar amount that's owed. And, if there's a handful of customers that there's no way that's going to work, then maybe take those on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and look at them then. See how. Well, let's see what we can legally do and everything. And so,
yeah, I think we should be flexible somewhat.
Yes. So, how about a meeting next Tuesday, guys? A week from
That
now.
works for me.
At 6 or?
Carla, what? How about you? Carla, Ashley.
Next Tuesday at 6, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me.
Is that okay, Carla? Okay, how about we set it, unless Carla pipes up and says something different, how about we set it at Tuesday at 6 p.m.? So, and then we can, we have time to discuss this and everything. So now, Reed, you want to go on with the next thing?
Yes. All right, so just need a motion to designate the utility clerk to handle the billing collection of the town utilities.
Okay, I make a motion to delegate the billing and collection of the utilities to the utility clerk.
I second it.
that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ron and a second by Stan to delegate the billing of the collection and the collection of utilities to the utility clerk. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Jen,
Yes.
Carla? I think Carla must be disconnected or something. Stan?
She's still on, but I don't.
Okay, Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it passes by the majority. Carla, are you okay, or are you on here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, now it's.
How do you vote on that? How do you vote?
I don't even know what you're voting on at this point. I was trying to figure out why nobody was listening to anything I said.
Okay, we couldn't hear you or something. We made a motion to delegate the billing and collection of the utilities to the utility clerk, and we all voted yes. And so, how do you vote?
Yes. Can you
Okay,
still hear me?
yes. So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're coming in late. So it passes 5-0. Okay, the adjustment going on here on the list here, the adjustment reports for January, February, March, and April 2021. Last month, we asked Michelle for a detailed report of the 604 fund for utility deposits due to the large amount of transactions dealing with the deposits. So we haven't got them yet, so we'll just hold off until we get those. So if Michelle, you could get those later.
There is no 6 over report until checks are created for those deposits. So there's only a report if refund checks are created. So that has absolutely nothing to do with the adjustment report.
Okay. All right.
Could you still print the transactions from that fund for the last year for me, please?
For the last year, yeah, that's just going to show like the people that have given back refund. That has nothing to do with adjustment reports.
Okay.
Because no check been created for these adjustment reports, and like the big one that I did, because you guys have not voted to allow me to do that yet.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on, so we're not arguing here. Next is a utility report. Mark, you want to take that?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you have a copy of my report in front of you. The first item under water is the annual consumer confidence report, required by the state to send these to all of our customers each year. We usually send that with monthly water bill, and that'll be going out with the June water bill, so it will be going out around the 15th of June. It simply is it's 4 or 5 pages showing what our test results have been for the year and if there were any violations, and there has not been any. So it's just something it's a public comment type of thing. Under wastewater, the spring grease and grit inspections have been completed and everything turned out well. The lift station maintenance was completed last week on May 5th. I have not received a report back from the contractor from that, but if there's a problem, he always lets me know they're in town, so I don't anticipate any surprises on it. Under street, as Ron had mentioned previously, the town did get the full amount for the community crossing grant that we applied for. Our next step is to sign the contract with the state. Me and Michelle are working on that paperwork this week, and then Jen, I'll need you to come in sometime at the end of the week because it requires the town council president's signature on that.
Okay.
Next item is crosswalk paint. 2018, we painted the crosswalks primarily at the school, here on 38 where the crossing guard is, and also out there at Clifty Falls and Dayton Road. They're needing repaint again now. Just for a point of reference, when we had it done in 2018, it cost $2,200. So I would like permission to solicit bids to have that done again this summer while school is out, and then I would present the bids to you at the June meeting if I can get approved to solicit bids for that.
Can I interject something here? Can I interject something here? This is Marshall Taylor.
Yes.
The school has requested that we add a crosswalk at the intersection of Market and College Street. This is the primary area where kids cross in front of the fire station to the school. I'd like you to consider adding that area for a crosswalk to be painted.
Yes, we need to.
And actually, it was painted before, but we had that road sealed, poured out, covered over. But we had that painted in 2018.
Okay.
So do we need
if it will.
So we need a motion.
I guess I would appreciate. Yeah, maybe a motion to allow me to solicit bids for it, I guess.
I'd make motion that we solicit bids to have crosswalks painted throughout town as Mark sees necessary. Mark and Scott see necessary.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Ashley to go ahead and get some bids for these crosswalk paintings, and a second by Stan. Any more discussion on it before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Ron? I vote yes, so it passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you very much. The next item is Dollar General stop sign. Scott had mentioned to me a week or two ago that he thought it would be useful to have a stop sign at the exit of Dollar General, and I'm in agreement with him. I went back and looked at the original plans for Dollar General because I thought, well, common sense tells you there should be one there. But looking at the plan did not indicate that one was going to be installed there. So I got a hold of Joe Leonard, who is the owner at Dollar General, and he has no opposition, I guess, to the installment of a stop sign. And we have the material on hand with the sign and the post. So I just wanted to see what your opinions were on installing a stop sign there. Do you think there's a need for one there? Or, yeah. Is anybody opposed to it?
No, is that pulling out of the Dollar General, or you got to stop before you get on there?
Yeah. There's a stop sign on the other side coming from Circle K, but it's not on the side of Dollar General.
Yeah, we need one there. So,
okay,
my opinion.
Well, I'll see what I can do to get all the. I think just be one sign. I can find a way to install it ourselves. Rather, usually when we'd have several of them, we would hire a contractor to go around and do it. I get one installed myself. We'll move on to other, and the first item is the Dayton Road ditch cleanup. So there was one homeowner that I was unable to reach concerning the project. Jen reached out to them and explained the project to them, and they do not seem to be in opposition to it. So thank you for that, Jen. So our next is to have Reed together a maintenance easement for each of the homeowners to sign. so then we can kind of put the work list together and put it out for bids. Reed, I've got the homeowner's name and parcel number that we need the maintenance easement on. Is it, I guess, does the town council want to proceed with this project and the cost involved with moving forward with this?
Can you remind us what the cost was?
Well, I don't know what the cost will be for Reed to put these easements together, but the one bid received to have the ditch cleaned was $13,000. Those funds would come out of our stormwater fund, and to be honest, I don't know exactly how much money is in the fund.
We should check with Michelle on how much money's there, but I am quite sure that there's enough to cover that bill without any problem. Now that did.
In stormwater currently we have $236,000.
Good.
Yeah, and that ditch needs to be done. It's terrible. So.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so does that also mean that the legal fees that we have involved with this could be paid out of the stormwater fund also?
Yes.
I think it should
what
be.
What Reed does, yes.
Yes, yes.
Well, good. That way it's all kind of self-contained in it, though. I think that's the best way to approach it.
Yes.
So Reed, I will reach out to you later this week, and we'll just have a discussion about what I need, how we might want to word that kind of thing, and then we'll be moving forward on it. I'd like to get these easements ready for sign. What I'll do is I'll get them from you for each parcel, mail them to the homeowners, plus I'll put a cover letter in there saying, hey, here's my name and number. Be glad to meet with you to review the project and any questions or concerns you may have, and I think that'll help things along a little quicker. Okay, the next item is the NDOT State Road 38 project. This is the state's, not what we're doing, moving water lines, for the actual rebuilding of the roadway and sidewalks and so forth. It was outfitted in April. The low bidder for that project was Reith Riley Construction. I don't know that they've awarded the contract yet, because once they get the bids, they've got a lot of review they do and back and forth before they actually award the contract. But I do know that they received bids for it, and the low bidder is Reith Riley. Nedham is Baker Farms. So far, we have issued 7 water and 7 sanitary sewer permits out of the office here. The county has only issued 2 building permits, though. So they've begun construction on one home out there and have made the water connection. So that's where we're at. I think that I don't know. You hear a lot about lumber prices right now, so although they have their permits, it might slow down things a bit until they get some stability in material prices. But we'll see as we go. Next item is TDS closeout, and I could not remember it, but I would like to get this sewed up. We had discussed, and everybody received a copy of all the fees associated with TDS is development out there on Hind Drive. So I'd like to get approval here to close this project out and send them back the remaining funds from their site review fee. They need $3,000 in a site review fee, just like any other developer does. And primarily what that's for is for hearing to provide a review of the plans, a recommendation to the board, and any inspections that may be necessary. So out of that $3,000, only $737 was spent. So I don't know if you call it a rebate or what you would call that, but we would owe them $22.62 back. Yes, automation to close out for the unused funds for the site review fee. So, is there any questions about that? And could we close that out tonight?
What was the dollar amount again, Mark?
The initial site review fee was $3,000. Out of that fee, only what was spent was $737. So they would get back $2,262.
We ought to go ahead and close that out. Yeah.
I'd make a motion that we refund in the TDS automation 2262 the site review fee.
You need a second?
I second it.
Okay, we got a motion to do a closeout on the TDS funds of whatever Ashley said there, and a second by Stan. So any more discussion before we vote? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Sure.
So there won't be any other bills coming in from them then?
No, it's all finished up, and the county had given them an occupancy permit, so it's been going on for quite a while. We're just kind of catching up on the tail end of it all.
Good. Anything else, Jen?
Nope.
Okay, how do you vote, Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's 5-0 to do a closeout for them. Go ahead, Mark.
So the next item is the sidewall share. So I reached out to Colin at BF&S Engineering. I spoke with the town of Battleground, so a couple different contractors who do concrete work, and on average, the cost of a sidewalk, so the cost to remove an existing sidewalk or a new sidewalk, 4 inches thick, and that's with the proper stone underneath it, plus any topsoil that's needed for backfill or rest sidewalks. So this is everything, tearing out the old one, pouring, doing the grade work with the dirt on the one, does not include the seeding. They always said that they figured that the homeowner could do that. But the average price for all of that is $7 a square foot. So that means that if we do a 50-50 cost share, it would be about $350 a square foot. So just as an example, so a sidewalk, 4 foot wide, foot long, 400 square feet, so $2,800. So the town share would be $1,400 in that scenario. Now, most sidewalks in front of homes are about 60 or 70 feet long. It just all depends on the lot, of course. Sometimes they've got 2 lots, but I think that's a reasonable price, especially because it kind of is a catch-all, includes all options of taking the old one out, pouring the new one, and so forth and so on. So now that this was kind of the next step, we wanted to see what kind of dollars we were talking about. So I guess I'm just like to move on to the next step, which would be starting this program. I don't know if that requires an ordinance, a resolution, or what it is. I think it's a good thing, not only for the homeowner, but also it's a good thing for them to improve their sidewalks.
Okay. So Reed, what do we need? We need to have a discussion on it by everybody, and what does everybody think about it? And then Reed can think about what do we need to do next to implement this. So, anybody got any thoughts on this?
I think we ought to do our research and be prepared to talk about it next Tuesday.
Okay, that sounds okay. Anybody else?
I don't have a problem with it. What kind of research should I be doing? That might sound like a silly question, but I don't know what we're.
Well, I guess. Go ahead, Ashley.
This may be something, Reed question, but may need to be something that needs to be incorporated into our town ordinances or I don't know, Reed, maybe a resolution or whatever it is. And, the language needs to be in such a way if a person is, we need to account for the variables. Maybe they're, I don't know, maximum length or maximum square footage or something like that. I don't know if we want, if somebody owns a property that's, 600 feet long, okay, and we know it's going to be some development out there where the developer would be buying a sidewalk, then, the town maybe shouldn't be buying a sidewalk in that scenario.
Well, I think the way to address that is that this is only for replacement of pre-existing sidewalks.
Okay, that'd be some good language.
Yes, that way we're not installing a sidewalk where there was not one previously. So this is just having pre-existing sidewalks.
Okay.
I think we'd have to justify doing it by saying that the sidewalk had become a walking hazard or trip hazard, to do it, not just because they want it.
Yeah, I agree. There has to be a need.
Mark has at his disposal a map of all the town sidewalks and the deficiencies in all those sidewalks. That's probably about 8 years old or something like that. That was done a couple councils ago, but we do know what sidewalks in town need to be repaired.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that would be up to the homeowner to come and ask for it.
Yes. It would be, and they would have to get the contractor and get the bids and all that. It would be under the homeowner would have to initiate the project. We wouldn't be going around pick and choosing.
Yeah, we don't want to be forcing people to do this. So. All right. Well, sounds pretty good. Any more comments?
So you guys will think it over and hopefully make a decision next Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if we're asking Reed to have whatever it is we need prepared for Tuesday in case there are no changes, or are we discussing the exacts of everything on Tuesday and then having him prepare it?
Why don't we discuss it on Tuesday, and then 2 weeks after that would be a regular town meeting. We can go ahead and he won't know what to put in stuff unless we get all the particulars, I would think.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Reed, we need this referendum, 7 easements, and a couple other things by Tuesday, okay? All right, we'll make our way through it. Hey, the last item I have, which is not on here, which I had spoke to a couple of members about earlier today, just to make you aware that Arbor Homes, a developer out of Indianapolis, contacted me yesterday about doing some development on South Dayton Road, and their question for me was, do we have the water and sewer capacity to support another housing development? I know, I'm sure it's just in its very early stages, but I just wanted to make you folks aware that I had been contacted by another developer about doing some more building here in Dayton. And as things unfold, if they unfold, I'll be sure and keep you all up to date on it. But that was Arbor Home, ARBOR, out of Indianapolis. But that's all I've got. Anybody have any questions?
I do, Mark. Talking about those
Yeah.
stops, the stop signs up by the gazebo,
Yeah.
out along 38 by the walk of the gazebo. There's a metal bracket in the ground that held a sign. Was that going to go back in, or was it a speed limit sign, a yield sign?
No, we took that out. Scott, do you remember what was there? You had me take that sign out. I think it was one that like had two arrows, had no marking from here to here or something.
Yeah, I believe it was a confusing no parking sign.
Okay. My question is, when I was mowing, can we pull that out of the ground so that the mower blades don't hit it or anything? I'm not sure.
Well, you know, I've tried that. There's not much to grab a hold of. I've got a post puller, but not hardly enough to grab a hold of.
I
For
can
that
get it.
clamp.
I can go up there and pull it out. So I just want to know it's okay.
Yeah. Scott, do you think would be a need for any other type of sign there in the future before we pull that out of there?
I'll look at it tomorrow.
Or leave it in and knock. Okay, or leave it in and just knock it down an inch or two so that you can mow over and don't get your blades in it. So
sure,
it doesn't matter. So.
Well, Scott, you think on that, and I'll try to find something that, if at the very least I can drive it down in the ground a couple more inches, and that way, like I said, Ron, we won't be hitting it with the lawnmower.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Any other? Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
thanks.
Ron.
Yeah.
I've got a couple things on my agenda that Mark probably will have some input on. Could I bring those up?
Yes. Go ahead.
On State Road 38 at 298 Delaware Street, there is a section of grass between the sidewalk and the curb, and this area is going to be tore up with the new 38 project eventually. But originally, the owner had complained that he couldn't mow that area because when they put the fiber optic through there, I believe it was, they didn't level it out. So now, it's a foot or two tall, and it's continuing to get worse, and adding a couple more months to that is going to make it unsightly. So I wanted to know if you guys wanted to address that.
Well, I had reached out to AT&T, the ones that had the work done, and I didn't get very far. Their subcontractor that did that was out of Michigan, and just further complicated things. So I have tried to get some resolution to that, but I have been unsuccessful. I don't really know. I don't know if it just needs graded off or if it needs dirt put in. And I to be honest, it wasn't in the best shape before AT&T came, but they just kind of added to a poor situation. It's always been a place, at least since I've been here, that's kind of been a catch-all for trash and whatever else you might have right there. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. I don't know if we need to I guess if you would, Ron or Ashley, either one of you, you both have skid steers. Could you just stop and take a look at it and see if you have any ideas where you might be able to smooth
Yeah,
it out or something so the guy could mow it?
we could look at it tomorrow or something. So
Yeah, I'm just don't feel comfortable, trying to make that guy mow it with our ordinances when it was in that condition and that brought us to, I don't have a problem as long as the council's aware that, that's going to get tore up anyway with the new 38 project if we just want to let it go or try to make it look somewhat better till that project starts. I'm open to suggestions, whatever you want to do.
all right, we'll look at it, Scott. That'll be go
Okay.
from there. Anything
The
else
second-
from Mark?
Yeah, just one more thing real quick. With our Community Crossroads grant, did that hole at the intersection of Dayton and Dayton Road ever get addressed or talked about as being part of that project?
At Main and
The one that
Dayton
Ron-
Road?
Yeah, the one that Ron filled
No.
in here recently, put a cone on.
No, because when we looked at as a council with me, that was not occurring. I mean, as far as I know, that's recent development. At least that I'm aware of. Has it happened previously than just a few weeks ago?
Well, that area has been a constant problem, and you drive through there, and it's you can lose a tire in it. That time that Ron fixed it, it happened to really wash out, but it's it's not washed out again, but it still needs brought up to grade.
Mark and Scott, the corner there's two issues there. Before the hole developed that I put all that gravel in, it's already so low there that it needs to be lifted up. I think there's a manhole or a drain or something there that needs to be lifted up to begin with, so your tire doesn't drop off into that and cause damage underneath. Then the hole was beside that, between that and the sidewalk that I filled up, and it hasn't sunk anymore, so it's okay, but there's still a problem that it's so low on that corner and probably one of the other corners. So we could look into that and either put it on the next road, the grant money stuff, or do it separately or something. It's pretty nasty right there.
It is. And I guess to answer your question, Scott, no, it's not part of this contract.
I get complaints about that area consistently. People, when they turn, they bottom out, and it's just hard on vehicles. It's definitely something I think we need to make a priority.
Well, we had discussed making that part of this contract, but the decision that was made that we would spend the money to have those 3 catch basins plus 2 more going down Dayton Road, as well as the storm lines connecting them, would have them televised to give us more guidance on what all needs to be done through there. So we had that done, and we've got the video here in my office. But no, it's not part of the current contract.
Yeah, we'll look at it in the next round. So, okay, anything else, Scott?
No.
Okay, and that's all you got, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, Mark, for all that work on getting that Community Crossroad grants. And since you mentioned this housing edition, I welcome it. I think the coalition welcomes it. I hope we can work with them on this group of people, and I'm going to contact them, or we will be contacting them to see it. Hopefully they'll do a nice housing addition. Maybe the houses will be have some distance between them, more than 6 foot or so. I noticed, we just hope they'll work with us and have some larger lots and a different kind of format out there. So, but anyway, we'll be all looking forward to that. So, okay. Next thing is Bridget, Carla, and I are allocating the Dayton United Methodist Church donation money for utility accounts, and we need to authorize Michelle to write a check to Dayton Utilities for the $1,000 donation that was deposited already. So I think this is okay. I'd like to make a motion for the town of Dayton to issue a check to Dayton Utilities to allocate the church donation money.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ron to have Michelle write a check to the Dayton Utilities for $1,000 for the donation money, and then a second by Jen. So any more discussion on it? Okay, if not, we'll take a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Ron, I vote yes. So it's passed 5-0. So Michelle, you could get Bridget that check. Would be great. Okay, the next thing is we need Bridget to become a notary. Redo. We need to vote on that. I think the total cost is less than $200. And I can make a motion if we do need to vote on it. Reed? You guys there?
Uh-oh. Reed's on here, but
Okay, well, if not, I'll make a motion to spend up to $200 for Bridget to become a notary.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to spend up $200 to get Bridget become a notary. Do we have any discussion on this before we vote? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Jen?
yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Okay, are there any comments from I think we're done with most stuff. Are there any comments from the council members or from the public? Does the public have any need to say anything? Is your time to talk right now?
Can you hear me now, Ron?
Do what?
Yes,
Can you hear me now, Ron?
Reed, I'm
Yes,
so
yes,
sorry.
Reed, we can hear you.
I was just muted. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, no worries.
So, Reed, we made a motion to spend
Yeah,
up
I
to
heard
200. Okay, that's okay then. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
Reed, how far back do we need to go? Because we haven't.
I heard everything.
Okay.
Oh.
Jen, do you have any people on there that want to talk at this public comment time?
Nope, I only had one caller and it was Reed and I muted him. So.
Well, that's good. Okay, how about the council?
Sorry.
We got any comments from the council?
This is Ashley. I got
Okay, go ahead, Ashley.
So over a month ago, we, as council members, received an email from Reed concerning utility services to the Carr Family Farm property, and I think this needs to be discussed. I would have thought we would have discussed it before now, but nobody brought it up, so I'm bringing it up. Maybe that could be added to Tuesday's meeting.
Have they asked to be added to an agenda?
I think we need to address Reed's email that he sent. I think it was back on April the 5th or thereabouts. We as a town board need to discuss that email about providing utilities out there or not.
I think they need to come call us up,
Yeah.
get on the agenda, come and ask their questions. We'll discuss it at that time and take it under advisement.
Well, maybe Reed can help me out here, but it sounds to me, reading through all that, the city of Lafayette is looking to us to say yay or nay on providing utilities out there. Is that correct, Reed, or not? Or
I've not heard from the town of Lafayette.
I haven't heard from Lafayette either, so.
Our attorney
Ryan
has.
London contacted me, and I told him that, you know, I would not have the authority to discuss it directly with him unless, you know, it was at a public meeting. But yeah, I mean, that's what their request is for the town of Dayton to say, you know, if they're okay with the city of Lafayette providing water or not. So
That property is in Dayton's area of responsibility per our contract with the city of Lafayette. You know, I'm of the opinion that we need to honor that contract.
If the town board has not been approached by a developer or whoever, why are you bringing this up? Who are you trying to get this pushed for?
I am trying to prevent Lafayette from taking an area of responsibility away from our utility, regardless of who builds what out there in the future. You know, I don't want the town of Dayton to give up such a large area, relinquish such a large area to the city of Lafayette. You know, our contract with Lafayette says that we service that area, and, you know, I think we need to. I think for the survival of our utility, we need to.
Ashley.
the other thing, Jen, is the developer engineer was on the agenda, and, you know, you guys said that you would look into it, and
That's right. Yeah, and that
nothing has
When was he on
been
the,
discussed since then.
what agenda was he on?
Last fall.
Well, that's last fall. We're talking about a whole new situation here now. I want to
No,
address that.
it's not
Ashley.
a new situation.
Okay, I want to address Ashley here. Ashley, that land is in our water jurisdiction by an agreement we have with Lafayette. And
That's
we're
correct.
doing research on it. Reed's looked into it. We're going to have other lawyers look into it. That I think this council thinks that we have the water rights and everything. The county, Lafayette, somebody actually went up there against all our wishes, all the 35 years of planning, all the development planning, everything we had for residential mixed use and everything from 5 boards and the whole townspeople on 5 different occasions over 30 years, and actually stole it and did something against our wishes. So now we need to research and see where we stand. And I still think they need to come up and ask this council to get on it. The person who makes the agenda, they need to get a hold of Jen, come up with their questions, and then we'll go from there, research it, and discuss it.
Well, Ron, I agree with your premise, okay? In the somebody was at a meeting or last fall asking us about servicing that area, okay?
Yeah.
And we put them off, okay? Now we've received this information a month ago. You know, Reed forwarded the emails to us, and you know, I think we need to reply back exactly what you said, that is in our jurisdiction, and you know that no, we're not going to relinquish it to Lafayette.
We need to talk about it as a board, Ashley. Why don't we have Reed tell them to call Jen up and get on the agenda. We'll discuss it. They changed the whole scenario out there. So it's a whole different scenario than it was in the past. So they can come out and we'll discuss it. I'm not saying we're not going to. They can they can just get on the next meeting and discuss the thing.
Ashley, that was at the October 12th, 2020 meeting that they were on the phone.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was, like Reed said, I knew it was last time.
And we have a lot of questions for them too. We had a lot of things that we were asking them to do, and they weren't very nice on what they did to Dayton and stuff. So we're researching the whole thing. It's a big, you know, we want to take care of Dayton first. Our council is not concerned about the developers or the warehouses, because right now it'll be 100% warehouses, an alley of nothing but a wind-gusted warehouses and semis up there. So we got
Ron,
to protect Dayton. Ashley, wait, we got to protect Dayton because we basically got screwed over. So we need to move on with this. Let them come out. Jen, they can get a hold of you. Reed, tell them to get a hold of Jen and set it up for next month's meeting at our town board meeting. Okay?
Ron, I understand what you're saying about the zoning and all that. Okay, I get all that.
I don't think you do.
I'm quite sure it's illegal to withhold utility service to property owners based on zoning. Reed can, check on that or tell me I'm wrong or whatever. But
Actually, we're not holding anything. We haven't made any discussions yet. They're the one. We have the agreement. They are the ones that probably illegally did stuff against us. So let's move on here and get them on the agenda, and we'll discuss it. Okay. The next thing.
Something Reed should do.
Reed should tell them to get a hold of Jen and get on a future agenda. Yes.
So Reed
Okay.
will take care of that then, I guess.
I can do that.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments from the council?
I do.
Okay.
So next week our garage sale and the fish fry also falls on a trash and recycle pickup day, and we need to make sure, like, if they're talking to residents, if I don't know, if this can come up somehow and we can spread the word, we need to make sure that the trash and recycle bins are accessible to that arm on the truck. I think that arm can reach like 10 feet, but there just can't be a car parked in front of the tote, obviously. So if people need to maybe like kick them further forward, or I don't know, I don't want to ask people to put their trash and recycle bins in the road, but somehow we need to make sure that they're not on block. So there's going to be probably a lot of cars parked along the side of the road.
Okay, good. Any other comments by the council? All right, I've got a couple. The utility rate study, I got a hold of Steve Brock, got back to him. He said it should be ready in a couple more weeks. He apologized. I think some of this stuff, I think Michelle's got him all the information he needs, and he's just, he says it's taken quite a while on this one. So a couple more weeks, he should have an answer for us. And then we can have a meeting and stuff and discuss these things. Also, I think at our last meeting, Michelle, I asked if we needed to change the things at the Staples. We got a credit card there, and I asked for you to put on the whole entire council, Bridget, the utilities clerk, Mark, and Scott, so that we can go in there and charge things. Have you done that yet?
So Staples, you can't just, you physically have to have the card. Menards, I did talk to the front desk, and she said that the only people that are on there are the current council members, Mark, Scott, and I. And she said it's been like that. She said she doesn't know if you are seeing other people's name go up to the register. Sometimes those long time to update, but she said if somebody, say one of those people that were on there tried to go in, it would not go through because it would show that it's not active.
Okay, that's
but the Staples thing.
Okay, what about Staples? What about Staples?
Staples isn't just go in charge like how Menards is. Staples, you have to have the physical credit card. And I've not been able to call back off yet. That's tax exempt. That's not the people that have authorization to buy things. You have to have the physical credit card there, and there's only two cards. I have one, and I believe Marshall Taylor has the other.
So I can grab that tomorrow and go into Staples and buy some materials for the town of Dayton, right?
If you for yourself, you cannot go in and charge on the account.
For the town of Dayton, why not?
Because Staples does not have that thing like how it's no different than like when Mark goes to Tractor Supply. He can't just go in there and say, put this on the town and invoice us. He
No, I
gets
said
a credit card from me.
if I take the credit card, the physical credit card, and walk into Staples, can I use it like I used 2 years ago for the town of Dayton?
Yeah, I've never asked me. And like I said, Scott has as well.
Okay, so I can get a card. I need a card tomorrow to go in and get some supplies, okay? And
Okay.
have you taken the list that was in there for tax exempt people like Mike Harris, Tracy Harris, and all kind of people? Are they taken off yet?
Like I just said, I have not called the back office of Staples yet. I've been busy training Bridget and getting
Okay,
everything up to
all
date.
right. Okay, if you can get that sometime, we'd appreciate that. I just want to check, and I need to get some supplies tomorrow for the utility office. So, okay, anybody else have any comments? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn this meeting and turn it over to Jen.
It's May 11th, and this is the regular monthly meeting of the Dayton Town Council, and Ron already made the opening statement, and he took roll call. So we'll proceed with the clerk treasurer, the town attorney now unmuted, the town manager, the town marshal, and all 5 council members still on the phone. So we have town attorney, Reed. Do you have anything?
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, the only thing I had is we did have a Dayton Redevelopment Commission meeting, and there was one item that they approved. So that was to have Michelle, as the treasurer, make a phone call to Baker Tilly to ask about gateway reporting. So I just wanted to bring that to the full town council's attention, and I guess see if you guys just wanted to go ahead and approve that as well, since it'll be coming to you. And also, you know, it's the first time it's come up, so just wanted to get some feedback on if you would, in the future, like me to bring it to the town council for approval before we have a redevelopment commission, if it's going to incur an expense.
Sure. Yeah. I think definitely. And
This one is.
Did they get back to you, Michelle, or did Mark kind of say?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did they get back to you?
Who, Baker Tilly?
Yeah. Jason.
Greg did, and he got, so I don't even know if it's going to change anything, because he just got him to open back up the redevelopment or the TIF thing on Gateway, and so I'm going to go in there and be able to add everything in. So, I mean, I talked to him, he got a hold of contact, so I don't even probably think that they're going to bill you. I talked to Greg, I forget his last name, but I didn't talk to Jason.
Okay.
So he just got to back up for me so that I can get there.
So that's great. Going forward, I think we do need to have Baker Tilly available if there are any questions related to, you know, the TIF district, you know, narrowly, just with reporting requirements, you know, that I can advise on. So can you guys, is the town council willing to do that?
Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
Is the town council willing to approve Baker Tilly to advise Michelle as the treasurer of the redevelopment commission regarding gateway reporting compliance in the future?
I would rather not put any sort of blanket approvals out. I'd rather do it on a case-by-case basis.
I agree.
Dan or Carla or Ashley?
I agree with you.
Agreed.
Okay, so just to back up, like, well, I was really just going to be a question of who was going to advise, either Baker Tilly or Michelle. What was the other financial company that you worked with?
Financial Solutions that
Financial Solutions.
So they originally were supposed to be the one to help me with the TIF stuff, but then the council decided not to allow me to continue their services. So then there was never anything else mentioned, in for a year regarding TIF. So then I didn't get to continue then with Baker Tilly because Financial Solutions was going to be the financial advisor for the Redevelopment Commission, but since that all got squashed, but like I said, it was just a phone call to Greg. He emailed back after I had emailed that at night at the Redevelopment meeting. He got back a hold of I think it was the assessor's office, got the code that we needed because we needed that to even be able to update the TIF, and then got a hold of his contact at Gateway. So it was probably like all of a 10-minute process. So like I said, I don't even think that he'll probably even bill the town. But obviously I had to go out to Gateway because Gateway trying to tell me that I didn't need to report anything, but I felt uneasy about that because knowing that we have a TIF area, I told him obviously it feels like I'm falsifying information because we have a TIF. So then that's when he stepped in, got his contact, and got it reopened so that I can get in there and put the correct stuff in there, and then it should be good moving forward.
So I just feel that it's important for the Redevelopment Commission to have an advisor in that area, just like it's important for them to have an attorney.
Reed, I
They don't have
agree.
any money, Reed.
I agree with you, but maybe we ought to get a cost from these couple entities to see what it's going to cost. I mean, 300 an hour or 100 an hour or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to approve it. We don't have to prove anything tonight.
Yeah.
The way that they would charge, I believe, because it would be as needed, would be hourly. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, we can go back to them and have them give us a new engagement letter, just for this ongoing maintenance. I don't think that it would be needed very often, but if basically I'll go back to the Redevelopment Commission and tell them that at this point, if we need to engage Baker Tilly, we need to get on the agenda for the town council first.
Perfect.
Or anyone can call them. But in the future, it might, might be nice to have. I don't know. That's what I'll report to them, and then you guys can take it from there.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
That's all I had.
Okay. Thanks, Bree. Okay, next up we have the allowance docket. We do have the allowance docket for February, March, and April to approve, but we only have the time cards for March and April, so we can't do February yet, but we can do the others. I move to approve the allowance docket for March 2021 and April 2021.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve the allowance docket for March and April of 2021. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. We're voting to approve the March and April allowance dockets. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that carries 5-0. Okay, next up we have the claims. Okay. I move to approve AE Boys invoice number 527386 dated 4/23/21 in the amount of $7,230. Was that a second, Carla?
Can you not hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the AE Boys invoice for $7,230. Is there any discussion before we vote? Okay, we're voting to approve the AE Boys invoice. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla? Carla?
Can you not hear me still? Hello?
I could not hear you, but now I do.
Yes.
Repeat your vote. Thank you. Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. I move to approve Alpha Business Technologies invoice number 214219 dated 4/12/21 in the amount of $250.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Alpha Business Technologies invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Alpha Business Technologies for $250. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, this passes 5-0. I move to approve Awards Unlimited invoice 157146 dated 3/18/21 in the amount of $64.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Awards Unlimited invoice. Is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. The motion was to approve Awards Unlimited for $64. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Axon Enterprise invoice number 1731752 dated 4/15/2021 in the amount of $3,468. I need a second.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to approve this Axon Enterprise invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Axon Enterprise for $3,468. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Church Hill and Andrew invoices 224233 dated 3/17/21 for $82.50 and invoice 226025 dated 4/16/21 for $315 for a total of $397.50.
Second.
A motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Church Hill and Antrim invoices for $397.50. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve the Church Hill and Antrim invoices. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
No.
And I vote yes, that passes 4-1. I move to approve CDWG invoice number MBLS 503 dated 4/8/21 for $154.
Second.
Then a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the CDWG invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve CDWG invoice for $154. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Haley Block Safe and Key invoice number 113714 dated 4/16/21 for $15.
Second.
A motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Haley Block Safe and Key invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Haley's Block Safe and Key invoice for $15. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve HR Unlimited Resources invoice number 1742 dated 4/12/21 for $62.50.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the HR Unlimited Resources invoice. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve HR Unlimited Resources invoice for $62.50. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. I move to approve Lafayette Glass invoice 374580 dated 3/1/21 in the amount of $295.04.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Lafayette Glass invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote?
I've got a question on what exactly that invoice is for.
I can bring it up for you.
Can you find it, Jen?
Yep,
It's for the sliding window.
The sliding window in the clerk's office.
I was under the impression that, and I think one of you all, either you or Jim one, said that that window was included in the invoice from the contractor. And now I found out it's not.
I think you're wrong, Ashley.
The invoice from the contractor was, gee whiz, it was close to $800, I believe. And I think when we were discussing the size of the window, which I thought it was going to be like a 3 foot by 3 foot window, and I'm pretty sure you all told us that that included the glass.
yeah.
We can
Let's
look
look
at
into this one. We'll move on to this one.
I mean, we've got $1,000 in that silly window.
Silly window. I wouldn't call it silly, but I rescind my motion
You
and
got
move on.
You've got $1,000 in it now.
And
we got 12. Ashley,
beautiful
we got $12,000 in a silly report by some stupid engineers.
That's okay. That's okay, Ron. I move to approve Menard's invoices 19183 dated 3/8/21 in the amount of $11.98. Invoice number 19948 dated 3/23/21 in the amount of $47.88. And invoice 20201 dated 3/29/21 in the amount of $5.97 for a total of $65.83.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Menards invoices totaling $65.83. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve the 3 Menards invoices totaling $65.83. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. I move to approve Mr. and Mrs. Tire invoice number 239599 dated 4/13/21 for $251.20.
Second.
Second. Oh, Thank you, Carla. Yes, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Mr. and Mrs. Tire invoice. Is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Mr. and Mrs. Tire for $251.20. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That passes 5-0. I move to approve Mulberry Telecommunications dated 5/1/21 for $438.11.
Second.
There's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Mulberry Telecommunications invoice. Is there any further discussion before we vote?
I've got a question.
Yep.
There's most of that bill is our routine monthly bill. I see a charge on there for $245. Can somebody explain what that charge is for? That's out of the normal monthly bill.
You're right. There is another phone, so maybe that's what you're looking at. Yeah, equipment sale business. That's the phone.
What phone?
Michelle moved out of the utility office. We needed another phone.
Well, when Michelle
Why
moved
did
out
you
of
need
office,
another phone with one person?
I'm sorry,
we have the same number of people working up there now as what we've always had, and everybody has their own telephone. So are you saying we bought another telephone for?
To replace the one that was moved out of the utility office.
I think Michelle took her phone with her when she moved across the hallway.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And Bridget has her phone.
Okay, so
it's just another phone that's sitting there, does not get used.
Guys, I'm the utility president and I use it, and I'm going to be spending some time up there, and I can't be, when I need to use it, the check step, Bridget's will be on the phone with the customers taking orders. So as before, years ago, when we had clerks and utility things, we always had an extra phone. It always worked out good. Probably we don't have extra phones in the last couple of years because people aren't up there half the time. So, but anyway, I'll be using the phone.
Well, the difference nowadays, Ron, you know, fast forward 20 years, you know, everybody carries a cell phone with them. Okay, so if you need to make a phone call, I presume you just use your cell phone like I would use my cell phone. You know, what few times there may be a conflict with Bridget being on the phone, but it just seems ridiculous to have a $245 phone sitting on a desk when there's only one person in that office and that one person's got her own telephone anyway. You know, I don't think we're being very good stewards of the taxpayers' money here.
Ashley, if somebody calls in while Bridget's and has to transfer it to me, how do I talk to them and take it from my cell phone? For God's sakes, it's a phone that we're going to use up there. We'll be donating a lot of extra hours, so we need a phone to use.
I'm sure Bridget or whoever would be happy to hand you the telephone. You can talk to.
She can't hand it to me. If somebody calls in and wants me to call, if I go in there and have a whole list of people to call back, and I can't use her phone to call these people back for an hour or two while she's on the phone, Ashley. You know,
Mark's always using his phone. You know, Mark is out of the office. Sometimes you could use that phone. You know,
I'm not going to walk back there in that back office when he's there, and I don't know when he's there and not there. And for God's sakes, Ashley, it's a phone. We didn't spend it on the desk. We didn't spend it on an extra chair. We got a cheaper copier than what was wanted. We saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars everywhere we can. We think we need a phone.
So we got $250 telephone. We got $1,000 window. We're doing good.
Yeah, we got two offices up there, Ashley. Good, dependable offices like most towns have. They have a clerk's office, utility office.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I've not known the telephone situation in that office to ever be overwhelming. No more residents than this town has. you know, we do have voicemail and some things like that. If the line is busy, somebody could leave a message and get a call back. So,
Well, actually,
whatever.
yeah, well, you guys rented a building to have meetings in when you had the town hall to hold them in also. You didn't hear
Okay,
us?
is there
I
any,
think so.
Building donated.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
whatever.
okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a roll call vote if there's no further discussion. Dan or Carla? Okay. This is to approve Moldberry Telecommunications invoice for $438.11. How do you vote, Ron?
Absolutely, yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Absolutely no.
And I vote yes, so that passes 4-1. I move to approve Murtaugh Law invoices 804 dated 4/9/21 in the amount of $576. 805 dated 4/9 of 21 for $80. 807 dated 5/5 of 21 for $1,772. And invoice number 808 dated 5/5 of 21 for $240, totaling $2,668.
Second.
A motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve the Murtaugh Law invoices. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Murtaugh Law invoices for $2,668. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0. I move to approve Nate's Handyman invoice number 263 dated 4/7 of 21 for $245.
Second.
Is there a motion made by myself and seconded by Carla to approve Nate's Handyman invoice? Is there any further discussion before we vote?
What was that for, Jen?
I can
Down out at, let me bring it up.
I can explain on that invoice, which it needs a little bit of explanation. So we had one gutter that was tore up, and we voted last meeting to spend up to $200 to fix that gutter. Within a day or two after that meeting, I got a phone call and said, and was told that not only do we have one gutter tore up, but we also have another piece of siding and gutter tore up. So I had Nate look at it also and just do both of them while he was there. So that's why this is $44 over the 200 that we talked about at the last meeting. So
Okay,
that's
thank
the
you.
explanation.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Nate's Handyman for $245. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla? Carla?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, thank you.
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that passes 5-0. The next invoice is from PV Business Solutions, and this says that it was for an OSHA journal. Let me bring it up. I'm sorry. Yes, for a OSHA compliance journal. Michelle, can you tell me how this came about?
It's just something that, like the safety manual, or I think Mark can probably get it more, but it's something that they automatically send us, so we have like compliance every so many that it's updated. So they send it and we have it on file for, I guess Mark, so would it be more of a maintenance, or who would use it more, or who would it refer to?
Jen, how much did this
Well, I'm
cost?
concerned that, what, Ron, I'm sorry.
How much did it cost?
It was for $298.50. But what I'm concerned about is that it's a scam, that they're trying to take us for. Michelle didn't order it. Mark didn't order it. No one ordered it. They just send it to you, give you the invoice, and expect it to be paid.
They called me to let me know to confirm that it was the same mailing address because they said that the last one they sent was to me. Double check the mailing address. We get them every so many years. I can go back and look to see the last time that we got one.
I think you ought to. I don't ever remember getting one, but you ought to see, and it could be a scam.
Yeah, it smells like a scam to me, so I'm gonna vote no on this invoice. I'm just gonna make a motion to not approve the PV Business Solutions invoice number 34079 dated 4/13/21 for $298.50.
I second it. Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Ron to not approve the PV Business Solutions invoice 34079 for $298.50. Is there any further discussion before we vote?
I pulled it up. The last one that I paid for was left off of 2019 for the 2020 OSHA compliance manual for $298.50 to the same business, PV Business Solutions.
Who uses this?
Nobody.
I mean, who wanted it? Usually when we get manuals, somebody wants it and asks for it. Who wants this?
The thing is good for 2 or 3 years.
Well, let's vote on it, Jen.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that residents were commenting. Mark, can you answer this?
Not really. You're right. It says OSHA, so you would think it's a safety manual, but it's not something that we're required to have. This isn't a factory or a manufacturing plant.
Do you want me to contact them and say them that we don't want it and that we want to send it back and not be charged for it ever again?
Yes, that's what I would think.
Okay, well, I will do that.
Okay. We'll continue to vote since the motion was made. This is a vote to not approve the PV Business Solutions invoice for $298.50. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I, Jen, vote yes, so that passes 5-0. So the other invoices that need to be approved are mine. There is one from Staples that I got flash drive for the utility office, and then the go-to meeting invoices. And since they're my invoices, I'm going to have the Vice President go ahead and take this vote.
I make a motion to approve paying Jen for 3 go-to-meeting invoices for February 18, March 18, April 18, $19 each for $57 total.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pay Jen for the go-to-meeting invoices for set $57. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote for, so it passes 4-0. I make a motion to approve paying Jen for Staples receipt dated 3/18/21 for 2 flash drives totaling $39.98.
Second.
I made a motion, and we have a second to pay Jen $39.98 for Staples for 2 flash drives. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it passes 4-0.
Okay. Thank you, Stan. All right, next we have the report. Last week we got the bank recs for December and the appropriation reports, the revenue reports, the fund reports. check registers, bank recs, I think for January, February, March, and April. So we'll go ahead and approve them at the next meeting so we have time to review it all. Approval of the minutes. So tonight we'll approve 11 minutes that we received all in one batch and that we've had time to correct. So I make a motion, and these were all minutes that I put in the Dropbox I sent to you guys, and I labeled them all final. So I make a motion to approve the following final minutes. November 9th, 2020 Utility Board, November 9th, 2020 Council, November 23rd, 2020 Special Council Meeting, November 14th, 2020 Utility Board, December 14th, 2020 Council, December 29th, 2020 Special Meeting, January 25th, 2021 Special Meeting, February 2nd, 2021 Special Meeting, February 22nd, 2021 Executive Session, February 23rd, 2021 Executive Session, and February 23rd, 2021 Special Meeting.
When did you mail those to us?
It's in the Dropbox, so you got it when I sent the invoices. So Tuesday, maybe. I can check if you want. I'll tell you what it's titled.
I'm looking on my computer and I don't see any minutes with corrections.
Okay, so you have the Dropbox though? With the invoices? It was Wednesday, I-5. It's just titled Dropbox.
Go ahead and vote.
Okay. Do you want me to resend it?
Please do. I'm not finding it.
Okay. I'm sending it right now. Ashley, can I just text this link to you? Just save from me having to pull up a new email?
Well, it's impossible for me to review that right this minute.
Yeah. I just want to make sure you got it. Okay, well then I'll just send it as soon as I can.
Maybe go to another time or something.
Well, Ashley, you've had them. Everyone's had them. They've been in the Dropbox. So I don't think it needs to be delayed. Is there anyone else that didn't get it? Don, did you get it? Carla, Stan?
Yep.
Yes, I got it.
Yep.
I did.
It was in that Dropbox. You sent everything.
There's a folder in there that says minutes for approval. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Is there any further discussion? Okay, we're voting to approve those 11 minutes that are in that Dropbox, the final minutes that have been corrected. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley? Ashley?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted. I vote no. Yeah, I've got invoices, but I don't see anything about minutes.
Well, there's a folder in there. It should be blue, and it'll say minutes for approval.
Okay. Yeah, so my vote's no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Michelle did get last Wednesday the minutes from The December 21st meeting, the January 11th utility, the January 11th council, the February 8th utility, the February 8th council, the March 25th utility, the March 25th council, the April 12th utility, and the April 12th council. So we'll approve those later after we've all reviewed and edited those. So if
this motion,
what?
who seconded the motion on this one? I didn't hear it.
Stan, I think. Is that correct, Stan?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So if the council could be looking at those minutes that Michelle sent us and in any edits so we can get those put together, we can get those approved. Next on the agenda, I have sidewalk, but that was taken care of in the utility meeting. Next is the voting district ordinance. So my thoughts on the voting ordinance are we just leave the wards and just make it real simple. Everyone in town votes for everyone on the board. Whether it's the person from your ward, the person from the other ward, the person from the other ward, and then the at-large.
I agree.
Agreed.
I agree. Seems like the fair thing to do.
Okay. Ashley, do you have
This is
anything?
Reed.
Yes, Reed.
So is that just returning it to the previous ordinance?
But keeping the ward.
Okay, so it is different than how the ordinance was in place before it was last changed.
Correct.
Okay.
At least, can someone verify that with me? I believe so, yeah.
I think when you voted for everybody could vote before, there's a different amount of at-large, I think. But
Was it 2 wards and 3 at large, or did it change to 3 wards this time?
I don't want to change any ward.
I agree. I don't either.
yeah, just everybody can vote for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what seemed like people were really mad about in the past, and a lot of people voiced an opinion that they wanted to be able to vote for everybody since they're such a small town.
It's a bit tricky because I think that
I'll take a look into what we need to do to accomplish that.
I'm sorry, Ashley, did you have anything?
Well, I think it makes it a lot harder for people to run for office. It's certainly going to make it a lot more expensive for them. I think people, lose a local voice, the voice of their neighbor that way. But, the person that's running for a ward. But you all do whatever you want to do. You're going to anyway, so whatever.
Ashley, you're my neighbor, and you never listened to me. So what difference does it make?
Previous council, we had a committee, and that's what they come up with, and they had various reasons for coming up with it. But it really don't, it don't make any difference to me one way or another. But I think it, as I said, it makes it harder for people to get into town politics because it makes it more expensive, and they got to cover a lot more ground. And the people in these wards, I don't think will be served as well. But you all do whatever you want to do.
For years, we voted for everybody, and the election board head of the election board was Brian Magnus, that lived out in this town. And he asked me, why don't we all vote for everybody, where our whole entire town is less than some of the precincts in Lafayette. And when we call up and you want to do something on the north end, you want to, like what's happening on the northwest end, you want to have representation. You want to be able to, it affects Ashley, you and me back on the south end. So we want to be able to vote on who's up there, Jen or Mike or whoever, or wherever it happens. This town's so small, we all are interested and want to have a say so. So just makes sense,
Well,
and that's why the town boards used to vote for everybody, or I mean, the people used to vote for everybody.
Ron, without a doubt, I want to believe that all board members have everybody's best interest at heart. Okay, I know you'd like to talk about this for hours and hours. Go ahead, take your vote. Do what you all want to do. I'm only one of five, so
yeah. Well, I am too. So
yeah.
But Ashley, you can still state your opinion, and maybe you'll make a good point. I mean,
so my opinion is, as I said earlier, it's going to make it harder for people to get into local politics, which maybe that's what you all are after. And
why is that? What's the difficult part?
Well, because you have to cover the entire town. Okay, well, it's a small town, right? But there's somewhere around 540 houses, or we bill somewhere around 540 on utilities. Okay, so that's a lot of door knocking. That's a lot of printing. That's at $10 a piece for yard signs. That's a lot of yard signs. And if you look at this last election, that the money that was spent to never in Dayton's history had there been so much money spent on a election. So somebody like you, Jen, that represents just a ward, you would not have to purchase near as many yard signs running in a ward as what you do if you're going to cover the entire town. I ran at large, okay? I spent well over $1,000 on silly signs, that you're going to, use for a month and a half. It's crazy. So it just makes it harder for people to get into local politics to be on this board. It drives up their costs, and I think everybody would agree. So campaigning is a total waste of money.
It also makes it more fair for everybody that everybody's got to vote on.
Well, Ron, they do have they do have a vote. Okay, I don't get to vote for senators in Illinois. I don't get to vote for representatives in Lafayette. So, but so everybody does have a vote.
They're not representing us, Ashley.
You vote your 2 at large, and you vote the 1 in your ward, so you're voting for 3 out of 5. But you all take the vote. It really don't make any difference to me one way or another. My simple point is, you are hurting the process by putting up barriers for people that want to be on this board to serve their town and the people that feel need to do that. It's just one more hurdle that they'll have to overcome. And
this isn't a hurdle for anyone. I guess if they want yard signs, those are not mandatory. Nobody has to have a yard sign. Somebody can run with 0 yard signs. I think everyone in town would prefer everyone run with 0 yard signs. So sure, they could spend more money, but 2 things that I heard you say. I don't vote for somebody in Illinois because I don't live in Illinois. The decisions that people make in Illinois don't affect me. The decisions that I make in Dayton affect Ward 1, affect Ward 2, affect Ward 3. The decisions we make affect the entire town. The entire town should get to say who's making those decisions. And the other point, you think that it's 530 houses is a lot of doors to knock on. I don't disagree with that, but nobody needs to knock on 530 house doors in one day. You can do that in 2 months, 3 months, whatever. I don't know, 2 weeks, however long you want. You can do it in 2 days. It's a lot of doors to knock on, but it's not impossible. So I think that you're grasping at straws to say that we're hindering people's ability to run. I think that's crazy. So, does anyone else have any further discussion?
Jim, when you have organizations, coalitions or whatever that, pay for a team and stuff, there's that certainly helps on your expenses, okay? Because one sign, covers 5 people or 4, or how many's, running in that coalition. But you know, for the for the John Doe or Jane Doe that you know is independent and they want to get their voice out there, you know, it's just another obstacle that they'll have to overcome. So, and you know, they'll either choose to do it or they won't. So, but you know, we could talk this to death all night long. That's the reason the other council put together a independent committee to take a look at it. You know, is because there's a lot of complexities to it. You know, but you know, you all got your mind made up, so you know, take a vote and move on down the road.
Jen, I
That
want to add.
committee makes different wards, and we're not changing their wards.
Well, yeah, I get you're not changing their wards, okay, and the reason that happened was because the state of Indiana mandated it, okay, so you know that's what brought up the whole subject with the prior council. You know, it's not that they were looking to do things, but the state of Indiana mandated that you had to you know take a look at everything and balance it out and all that stuff. So, you know, that's what they did.
Right, so you put your buddies on a committee and they changed the voting ordinance, and now we're going to switch it back so that everyone in town can vote for everyone that represents them in Dayton.
Okay, well, they couldn't do that before. They would vote for 3 out of 5, but okay, go ahead.
Can I say something, Jen?
No, go ahead.
Ashley, the last board did change things, the last board, but there's 6 or 8 boards before that you guys changed it from. So what makes the last board the right board? The boards before that, there's a lot of discussion about a lot of times the boards, people wanted to go with no wards at all and let the 5 highest people get it to be the fairest of all. But
well, Ron,
this council is not changing. Hang on, this council is not changing the wards. We could go after that. That committee that was made up, all those committees in the last council were all friends. I walked in on a committee of 13 people, and heck, they were all exactly the opposite people. Those are hand-picked committees, which then the law says you can't have those committees. You got to do it publicly in front of everybody. But this is a good way of everybody being fair.
Come on, Ron. This town has grown, you know, with the addition of Deerfield when that happened, and now you got Baker Farms happening, so you'll be, you know, changing Ward 1 here.
Your guys' arguments was this town hasn't grown in 20 years. That's why you needed a subdivision. No growth for 20 years. We're dying. So I'm talking about just, hey, Ashley, I'm talking about before 4 years ago when we had the same amount of people. We've had about 1,500 people for 10, 15 years. It's the same thing, and we voted for everybody for years. So you guys changed it for one time and changed those wards and had a committee do it to benefit yourself.
We had wards before, okay? And the whole reason we went down to 2 wards, if you'll remember, Ron, is because you couldn't find anybody to run, okay?
Oh, that's ridiculous, Ashley. Look how many people are running, Ashley. There's more people than what you got slots for.
I'm talking about elections, you know, from 10 and 15 years ago. You could not find people that want to be on the town board. Gee, I wonder why. So, you know, that's why they went from 3 wards back down to 2, okay? Well, in recent years, that's, you know, so, you know.
We'll go down to no wards and you'll have plenty of people run.
All right, well, that's not what we're discussing, guys. Okay, Carla or Dan, I don't think we've heard from either of you. Do you have anything?
No, I think we just need to do like we did before. 3 wards, everybody vote for everybody.
I have nothing further to add to this discussion.
Okay. Reed, do you want me to add that to your list for Tuesday? You have a whole week. Just joking. Okay. Reed, you're still there, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Jim,
sorry.
Okay.
I got one more comment. I got one more comment. So, you know, when we talked about this, I think it was last month's meeting, you know, you assured, I'm getting texts like crazy. you assured that residents would have input into this. And here we're voting on something, and residents haven't had the opportunity to say one thing about it. I think that this council ought to do some due diligence and let the residents speak their mind before voting on it.
We're
And
not
again,
really
I don't.
changing anything except letting them vote for more people. I mean, if they don't want to vote for everybody, they are welcome to only vote for that person in the ward and the people at large.
Well, there's other points to be considered. People may be, and he's not on some sort of limited finances on, running for the town board. There's you don't know what residents have to talk about until you actually ask them and invite them to an in-person meeting.
This is on the agenda, and the people can speak.
Ordinance, and nobody contacted me.
Yeah.
To speak on the agenda. They contacted me, but not to speak.
Well, they're contacting me right now.
Well, why don't they contact Jen and get on here and speak then, Ashley?
They want in-person meetings, and they want to be able to.
Yeah, they want to act like children, and only in-person meetings, or we're not going to talk.
That's okay, Ron. That's okay. That's okay. So we're just making a simple change that everybody gets to vote for everyone on the board instead of one person, the one person from their ward and the at-large.
You can sell it however you want to sell it, but that it's more than a simple change. And
Actually,
you're not
I think people were waiting for you guys to advertise for comments.
We did advertise right up here. Nobody's talking.
This board is not.
No, you just put the agenda. That's not advertising for it.
This board is not listening to the town residents or giving the town residents the opportunity to speak about anything.
Actually, we've never not given them an opportunity to speak.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Having these silly meetings, over telephones and not allowing residents to speak in real time about things that affect their lives in their homes. And this voting ordinance is just one of many things.
We could get up and walk out like you guys did at the old meetings, Ashley.
No, Ron. Okay, well, hopefully, Ashley, when the time comes, they come to the meeting where we vote on this. I hope they do.
Well, you're voting on it right now, so it's too late for them to speak up on this item.
What do you mean it's too late, Ashley? We're saying this is what we want to change in the voting ordinance. That's not how ordinance changes work, and you know that.
You haven't given the public the opportunity to voice their opinion about this and other items. They see something on the agenda, okay, and it's not it's not up for a vote. It's just talking about a voting ordinance. Okay, you guys are going to take a vote. The public cannot react in real time. The residents of this town, you are not serving the residents of this town. This board, on many occasions, is not serving the residents of this town by just ramrodding things through. And
Ashley, what do you think? What is a public hearing for? What is a public hearing for, Ashley?
You're not having a public hearing.
We are not in a public hearing right now. But what is a public hearing for, Ashley?
You tell me, Jen.
It's ridiculous, Jen.
Ashley, how do we get this ordinance? How did you get the voting ordinance through last time?
We had a committee that met several different times over about a 4-month time period and made a recommendation to the town council. And it was all done in open meetings. We talked to them during the 4 months and stuff. People could give their input over that time period. You brought this up last month. You said that you'd take public input, that there'd be some due diligence. And wham, bam, here we are, this meeting, voting on it. Ramrod it through like you all do everything else.
Ashley, you're pretending that you have no idea how ordinances are passed. You're trying to make this out into something that it isn't. Reed has to know what is likely to be in the ordinance or what we'd like to see in the ordinance, draw it up, and then it's taken from there.
Okay, well, why don't you listen to the residents
what do we do?
before you pay a lawyer $200 an hour to do paperwork that he may end up redoing?
We're listening to the residents and we don't hear any, Ashley.
Jen, can I say something? What should we have do? Reed do? Write up an ordinance that says everybody can vote for everyone. Write up an ordinance that says you can only vote for, one person. Write up an ordinance that says we're changing the wards. Write up an ordinance that says whatever. This is, you're being.
The election's in 2.5 years.
Difficult.
What's the hurry? It's not like election is next month.
Carla, what did you want to say?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Before you write up anything, let the public speak about it.
It's not like they haven't heard from the public about this since before the last election, Ashley. People are ticked. People are ticked that they went to the voting booth and they got to vote for one ward and 2 at large when all 5 people on that board are representing them. People are mad about it. They've been speaking about it for forever.
They spoke about it when you guys made the last decision.
We asked you not to make
You block people's phone numbers that you represent. So what does that have to do anything with it?
Who blocks people's phone numbers? No, actually,
you do.
She's crazy.
I have never blocked anyone's phone number, Michelle. Don't start.
Oh, you have it. You out on it.
You just make up lies and you spout them and just hope everyone believes you. It's insane.
It's on Facebook.
Michelle, no, you don't. This isn't even about you. Stop.
Who called in tonight to get on this discussion? Nobody, Ashley? I don't know. Jen, did anybody call in to get on this discussion? It was publicized. It's in the agenda and everybody knew about it.
Absolutely no one asked to talk.
Yeah. Or do they have to they can only speak in person, I guess, But when we discussed it, Ashley, in the old board, when I was sitting there and we all discussed it, there was people at those meetings who were up in arms about that they couldn't vote. So we have discussed it for a couple of years, too.
Well, Ron, yes.
And I think we voted us in saying some of these things they wanted changes. Remember that. This board is a different board because they did vote for them.
I'm not saying that nobody opposed anything, okay? I'm just saying, you got people on this side, you got people on that side, okay? The old board had a committee, impartial committee.
You did not have an impartial committee, Ashley. You had a hand-picked committee that did exactly what you guys wanted to behind the scenes, and the state law said you could not have those committees. There was hand-picked people on there. They were all the black shirt people.
They were not.
Yes, they were, Ashley. They absolutely were. They were all your friends.
They were not.
One of them.
Let's bring it back to right now, to this one. Does anyone have anything further before we move on from this?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the return to in-person meetings. So in order to do this, we are going to have to distance those chairs. And from what I could tell, we can fit the people that are on the meeting now, the council, Michelle, Reed, Scott, Mark. We can fit out all of us plus, I think, 8 chairs. And to socially distance the chairs. So,
hello? Is anybody else on here?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're all still here. So we need to figure out if everybody is for returning to in-person meetings, and then I guess how.
I'm okay with going back to in-person meetings as long as we follow the health department regulations concerning the COVID-19 virus.
Anyone else?
I agree. We need to follow the rules.
Carla or Ashley?
Yeah, I agree. We shouldn't go against, rules or whatever, but, a lot of people have been vaccinated now and, people are ready for it. And,
That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, so let's do it. So next Tuesday meeting will be an in-person meeting?
I don't know how we, Reed, do you have any input on this?
No, I mean, I haven't seen anything from what other people are doing to determine how to limit and how to determine who comes in. I think that's, we need to decide that before we can just open it up.
Agreed.
Hold on,
Can
you
you
guys.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can I speak?
I'm going to go off the meeting for just a minute. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. So I agree with what Reed said. So I don't think that the next Tuesday meeting should be in person simply because we don't have those standards point. We need to establish how many seats are going to be available, how people are going to come in, how when we reach our maximum, how does that get stopped? What is our maximum? We need to have those guidelines established and notify the public of how that works before we can do that, so that everybody's aware of what the rules are, what the guidelines are, what our health department says, and for safety.
Carla, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Can I have you hold for just a second? Michelle just called me and the internet's down at town hall. So we lost Michelle and Mark. And I don't want them to miss this discussion since they'll be in the meeting as well. So I asked them to call in. So they're going to call in from their cell phones. So can we just hold the discussion until we get them back?
Hey, this is Mark. I'm on my cell phone now, so
Thank you,
we lost
Mark.
internet here at the town. Yeah. So.
Okay, can you hear me now, Jen?
Go ahead.
I think we have both of them back now. So go ahead, Carla. Could you restart?
So we lost you right as you were opening up the discussion for returning in person.
Okay, so all we pretty much said was we'll need to follow the guidelines to keep everyone safe, and there's not much room for extras in there. Once you get all of us in there, the council, you, Mark, and Scott. And so we were discussing if everyone was comfortable returning, and then we asked Reed, and he just said he hadn't really seen how other people are doing it to allow people in. So I think Carla was the first to actually speak on it. So Carla, if you could restart your entire point, that would be helpful.
Yeah, if I could just remember exactly what I said.
Sorry.
Basically, I just picked up on a point that Reed said about having something established in that we need to know what our maximum for people that we're going to be able to social distance and how much room there is for that, how we're going to get people in and out. Are we going to, do we make people take temperatures? When I went somewhere the other day, they made me take my temperature. That's the first time that happened in a while. So are we going to do that? We need to know what the health department is saying. What do we need to do? How are we going to set that up? We need to get that established and let people know. And then once we do meet the maximum, who's going to do the counting, and then who's going to say the door's shut and nobody else is allowed in because we've reached our maximum. All those things are important details that we need to know and have a guideline established. Make that guideline available to the public so they're aware before we can determine our first in-public meeting.
So
In my
I can speak. Okay, I can speak to the health department. I did call and talk to them, and they didn't mention temperature or anything like that, but they did suggest requiring people to keep their masks on unless they were speaking, and to keep the chairs socially distant.
So the main thing we have to decide is what do we do with determining capacity, and then what happens if someone leaves? Is that someone else going to be allowed in, or are we just is it 8 people are in at the beginning of the meeting and that's the only people that are allowed in? So we just need to look into it.
I would think it wouldn't make sense to have like a revolving door, because I mean, you can't really clean like where the person was sitting, and I think the point of distancing the chairs is so you don't have that close contact. I mean, I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
I don't think so many people.
Yeah, and who's gonna sit at the door and count and determine who else can come in? So probably just have to limit it to whoever is there at the time. But how do people get in line? All those kind of things.
So should we bring our suggestions to the next meeting so that we can plan this for the June meeting to have our first open meeting, the main town board meeting?
So
I
bring
think that's
your
good.
suggestions to the Tuesday meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, bring some suggestions and I'll think about it next 5 days and bring suggestions and sort of narrow it down so we have a plan like Carla said. I agree, and I think she had mentioned about not this next one, but have a plan for that June meeting,
Okay.
because it will take some planning and stuff. So.
Is everybody in agreement with that? I think that's good.
Yep.
Yes.
Do we still have Mark and?
Yeah, we're back online, so I called back in from my regular phone line.
Oh, okay. Did you miss anything?
No, because I literally just hung up from my cell phone when I got reconnected and called in.
Okay, cool. Okay. So that's what we'll do for the return to in-person meetings then. Okay, next up. Please, Marshall Taylor.
Good evening. I would like to get permission to paint my lobby at the police station and get new vinyl flooring and possibly replace some trim. If you guys are okay with that, how would you like me to proceed?
If possible, it would be nice if you maybe had some estimates or some rough costs to say, I want this, fancy flooring and this paint, and it costs this much. So it'll probably
Is that something?
Amount of money.
Is that something I could get quoted by Nate's Handyman, or do you require me to go through several contractors?
I'm fine if you just get it through Nate's Handyman, and then if for some reason we don't like that, or if you don't like that, or Ashley's building and maintenance, we could look elsewhere. But he's done work for the town, and I think that'd be convenient.
Are you talking about just the lobby floor or the whole building floor, or what?
Just the lobby.
So that's a small section, and it'd be a fairly small job. So seems like Nate
I would imagine so.
Yeah, Nate
I'm talking
puts
about
in
a vinyl floor.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything? Ashley, Stan, Carla?
I think Nate's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Get an
I'll get a
estimate.
quote. Yeah, I'll get a quote
Okay.
from Nate. The last item I have, does the council want me to proceed with advertising for a full-time officer?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
Agreed.
Carla and Ashley?
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve allowing Marshall Taylor to put out the application for a full-time officer.
I second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made by myself and seconded by Stan to allow Marshall Taylor to open application for a full-time officer. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. This is to approve Marshall Taylor opening up the applications for a full-time officer. How do you vote, Ron?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes 5-0.
Thank you. Any
And
questions
the
for me?
salary ordinance already covers that position, correct? That's already been approved.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other
Anything
questions?
else, Marshall Taylor?
I don't have anything else for the council.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next is public comment. We do not have any public on the phone, and no one emailed or anything. So then we have council comment. Are there any comments from the council?
Nope.
I got one, Jen.
Okay.
This is a new subject you need to think about. We need to, I don't know, I think act fairly quickly on it next month or something. But Dayton Road South here is getting a lot of traffic on it, a lot of high-speed traffic, and a lot of large trucks running on and off the road. And it'll only get worse as time goes on with this new subdivision. We had asked Malacus to bring the trucks in from the south end, but nobody seems to be doing it. But as far as running off the road, I and the church members mow all along Dayton Road, and it's very dangerous. And it's like a straight quarter of a mile, and everybody just hits at tracks and flies out through there at, some horrendous speeds, probably 60, 70, 80 miles an hour by the time they're down to the new subdivision. So I think it's time that we need to put a speed bump down there that would definitely slow traffic. And by the way, one of the trees that Malacus had us plant for the church has been run over. A truck slid off the road coming from south to north on a straight shot, slid off, ran over the tree and knocked it out of the ground. So if kids had been walking along that sidewalk or anything or along there, you'd be dead right now. So I think we need I'd like to look into getting the cost, and I talked to Mark about this, and this would be a good time for a speed bump because we could, that section of road, they're going to be doing it on the community grant here, and we could incorporate it in there and get 75% of it paid for. But we need to slow this traffic down. It's just horrendous out there. And then also I noticed on Facebook that other spots, just last night, people were talking about on Harrison Street, on Conjunction Street and stuff, about speed bumps all of a sudden, sort of ironically. But I think down the road we need to do some stuff with that too to slow these people down. It doesn't seem like a lot of times signage or stoplights or swirling signs or anything help. But anyway, I started to talk to some people, and I'd like to get some have Mark and us get some costs on these speed bumps, and I'd like to pursue getting one down in that area, because as time goes on, it's only going to get worse, and somebody's going to get hurt along there. So I'll let it open for discussion.
So where exactly are you wanting this?
Well, probably to start with, so that it doesn't just, I hate speed bumps and I hate signage and I hate everything, but let's say past, I talked, but you know, there's some things you have to have unless you want somebody dead down there. I think, and I talked to Scott about this, probably past, right past the second entrance of the church. So people going to Shady Lane and Wesleyan Drive in the church on Sunday morning aren't always rolling over that bump. But yet everybody else knows you can't really get a lot of speed before you do hit the bump. And that would probably take care of it, along with speed bump signs from each way and maybe a couple more speed limit signs. And then maybe eventually, when these subdivisions, this new one beside Malacus's, and then remember everybody, Malacus is going across the road with another 400 houses. So you're going to have a lot of traffic along there. So probably those signs like Scott already bought at each end of town at some time incorporated in there too. They seem to not be perfect, but seem to really slow things down. So, but anyway, notice in Lafayette, these speed bumps, there's nothing better than slowing traffic than the speed bump. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'd like to have Mark, we could start looking and getting some prices so we can decide on this pretty soon.
Yeah.
This is Ash in a couple of things. I think the tree that you're talking about, the Methodist Church, I was under the impression that it got backed into with a construction trailer. But on Dayton Road, at some point in time, that needs to be looked at to be a bit wider than what it currently is. For the traffic load or expected traffic load, it should be a little bit wider than currently. I think instead of a speed bump, I'm opposed to that. I think signage beyond the county road, warning people, that we've got a speed limit zone coming up, would be more appropriate, and maybe having patrolling that area a bit more. I don't know how many hours are spent patrolling that particular section, but I think that would go quite a ways. I think as the Malacus development matures, you're going to have housing out there, and that with the signage, people will realize that they're either entering a residential area, but slow it down. I'm on Dayton Road every day. I haven't seen anybody going 70, 80 miles an hour out there, but are they doing more than 30? Yeah, they probably are. So I agree with you there, Ron. I think we ought to try some signage before we.
Okay, I agree with both. On that tree, I called up Malacus and said he needs to straighten it. He got with the people. They all swore that they saw a car or truck run off the road and run that tree over. So I mean, I argued with Malacus. So I presume I'm going to go that route there. You leave. I think the signage is good. I want to put the signage with the speed bump. And if down the road, because it's wide open right now, you've got town, country, then town, you're going to have for a lot of years, not just one or two, but the next 5 or 6 years till it's all built up. It's like it's just an open invitation to roar down there. So I think the signage isn't going to do the trick. I stand out there, Ashley, I mow on both sides of the road, and I mowed the church for years. Now they mow it. I mow it. You pull out there, but you don't sit along there. And if you mow along there, there's already huge tracks embedded in the ground from trucks and tractors and stuff, like rumble in the grass, because they all pull over. And now I noticed.
It needs to be wider.
Yeah. Okay. And then, but Sally said, and if you notice, out at Harrison and 9th Street and these additions, you're not going to widen that road till you at least get 24,000 cars a day on it, and then it warrants an update. So there's many roads that are that same size that have thousands and thousands and thousands of cars. So now when that day comes, yes, you can widen it, and it's still, but you still can a wider road like on Greenbush there where they have a speed bump. That's 4 lanes, but they have the speed bumps on each side because people, and it's in a residential commercial apartment area and a park there, people walking all around, and people still speed along there. I mean, I even watch them fly over the speed bump sometimes. So I think you need a combination. We can always scrape the speed bump off 5 years, 6 years down the road. I'd certainly like to see it if they go slow enough and everything. But I'll tell you, when you're along that road, I mean, it's scary, And I watched that lady with the twins walking along there, Jen with her kids bicycle along there, and I mean, they're not in cars out like you are. Just come out and help me mow sometime, and you'll see what I mean.
Well,
So
and the sidewalk that's currently out there, I agree, it is too close to the road. It needs to be, back probably 10 feet or so from the road. Like the new sidewalk that we're going to build out there will be.
yeah,
Another possibility is, maybe putting a stop sign down at what's that county road, Ron? 425. Maybe put a
375.
stop. 375.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe putting, it might be the county's call, I don't know, but, maybe putting a stop sign there and then, refreshing people's memory with what the speed limit is along that road. Maybe, 3 speed limit signs or 2 speed limit signs, or I'd have to go out there and count and look at the distance and stuff, but maybe reinforcing to them after they've stopped, what the speed limit is.
All right. Well, let's get prices and let's talk about it more. But remember, up on Dayton Road North in that intersection, it's all the time a continuous headache up there. People the other day just taking pictures of that van and everything. We've headed up all those tulip trees. We put spinners on there, stop signs. I mean, about everything. A cop car used to be our extra police car sitting there. I mean, people just plain, unless they are slowed down, they just run through the stop things too. They run past the signage. It's just human nature on a lot of people. So what would be wrong with the speed bump? They got them all over, and it's it's there'd be nothing wrong. It would definitely do the trick. So anyway, we'll get costs and we can talk about it more. There's pluses and minuses, but we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything?
Nope.
Carla, Dan, Ashley, did you have anything for council comment?
No.
Okay, I had one. I just wanted to give an update on the income survey. We are so close. We need one more survey sent back. So they're giving it a little bit of time, hoping one trickles in. And if not, then they'll send out another round to get one, because you have to have a certain number of surveys. So in order to meet that, we have to get one more survey sent in. So that's almost complete. Okay, that completes our agenda. Having no other business before us, this meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.